Hello and welcome. I'm Rashan Gidwani and you're watching the World Report on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the headlines for this hour. President Trump has informed the British government that the United States does not require their military assistance to secure a victory in Iran. The statement signals a unilateralist approach to the conflict, leaving traditional allies weighing their role in regional stability. Israeli airstrikes on an eastern Lebanese town have left at least 16 people dead as the military campaign intensifies. Local authorities are struggling to clear debris and reach survivors amid the widespread destruction of residential areas. The Assembly of Experts has reached a majority consensus on a successor to the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, according to reports from MEHR News. While an official announcement is pending, clerics state that the chosen candidate aligns with Khamenei's guidance to be hated by the enemy, rather than praised by it. The Israeli military has declared it will pursue every potential successor to the late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. This policy aims to systematically decapitate the Iranian leadership structure to prevent the regime from regrouping. China has declared that high-level dialogue with the U.S. is vital as President Trump increases pressure on Beijing's key global partners. Officials warn that escalating trade restrictions and geopolitical maneuvering threaten to destabilize the fragile diplomatic balance between the two superpowers. A U.S. appeals court has ruled that the Trump administration cannot immediately end protected status for 350,000 Haitian migrants. The decision provides a temporary reprieve for families facing deportation as the legal battle over the program's termination continues. Canberra is currently evaluating urgent requests for assistance from multiple nations recently targeted by Iranian kinetic strikes. The Australian government is considering deploying logistical and security support to allies in the Gulf to counter the escalating regional aggression. Days after striking Iran, President Trump is hosting Latin American leaders to strengthen regional ties and counter Chinese influence. The summit focuses on securing Western Hemisphere supply chains and limiting Beijing's economic reach in the Americas. And now we have some breaking news coming in. The Israeli Air Force has confirmed that missiles were launched from Iran toward Israeli territory just a short while ago. Israel says their defense systems are actively intercepting the incoming threats. The Home Front Command has sent alerts directly to mobile phones in affected areas, instructing residents to enter protected spaces immediately and remain there until further notice. Exiting is only allowed after an official update. Authorities emphasize that following these instructions can save lives and urge people to act responsibly. And now joining us is retired Major General Sudhakarji, senior geopolitical and strategic expert joining us from Jaipur. Sir, in your opinion, what do you believe that these individuals go through psychologically when they're told they have to stay in one position due to a war, and how do they essentially feel better about this, if at all possible, please?
Roshan, good evening. Thank you. It is miserable. You suffer from all kinds of ailments, starting from psychological paralysis, imbalance, hallucination, and because you are confined to a restricted space, so hence the efficiency also goes down, and the fear of unknown. Fear of unknown is the most dangerous thing that happens. It's quite dangerous, very, very tricky for soldiers. If you're meaning to ask that, if I've understood your question, if it is linked with something geopolitical and larger canvas at the global level, then I may have to fall back. But at the moment, that is all comes to my mind. Back to you, Roshan.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to follow up on that. Maybe not so much for soldiers, but civilians in general. Maybe there's instances in your life that you'd like to share about where you felt like there was no place to move. Rather, what advice would you give to these civilians, please?
First and foremost is stock up. Stock up your ration, stock up water, because I've been in Middle East. Drinking water, potable water is a big scarcity. they carry out desalination. Now the conflict has reached the economic angle or the tourism, it is being gradually decimated. Once it reaches the survival angle, survival is water. Every country has got desalination plant and the refinery capacity and the storage capacity. If they become the target, then you would say that the Middle East entire population will be, they have to, it will be very hell kind of a thing for existence. So what I mean to say is that for the civilians, they have to stock up ration, they have to stock up water, they have to stock up the battery charging facility, electricity will not be there, power supply will not be there. So they have to have cater for all these kinds of communication is very, very important in these cases. Once you get cut off, well, I have been cut off in Western Africa in very volatile situation, and I have got the experience. We are without communication with the headquarters. Why talk about 1 day, 2 days, even for 1 hour? When you are without communication with your superiors and with your juniors, you don't even know what to do. That is very, very important. So, and last but not the least is, your medicines are very important. There are some bare minimum medicines which must be there. If you have children, then pediatric medicines will be very, very important. If you have adults, depend on the hereditary problems, you must cater for the medicine, and likewise. This is all. And last but not the least is the survival. When you talk about the survival, you should be prepared. Every house, if you've not been catered for, must have overhead protection. Overhead is that you must have a basement like it is there in America, in the East Coast to New Jersey, all these places, most of the provinces they follow that every house has got a kind of a zigzag entry point into the basement, and the basement provides you protection from NBC, nuclear, biological, chemical. It may sound very outlandish, Roshan, at the moment, but don't be surprised and shocked if it comes into reality. People in Middle East must prepare for chemical warfare. They must prepare for biological warfare. They must prepare for nuclear radiation. Those are the warnings and the caution I would like to extend and sensitize through your medium and your platform.
Yeah, in your opinion, this is essentially the 9th day of the war now. I've been meaning to ask this all day. Do you feel like the world is headed towards World War III?
Look, World War III, when you talk about the World War, we tend to lose, miss the woods for the trees. World War means our mind goes back to World War One and World War Two. The dynamics, the circumstances, environments are totally different. And you were walking from industrial revolution. It was manifesting in the warfare. And as you went on to the next stage of industrial revolution, it started manifesting from trench warfare to standoff attacks. From standoff attack, you started tanks and the artillery guns started coming in. And now we are on a digital world where these things are taking place. So if I have to respond to your question, Roshan, all I would say is that we are going through a transformational change in the warfare, number one, in order to protect ourselves, in order to save ourselves. And therefore, there is a requirement to actually be prepared for the worst eventuality. The warfare has actually assumed the kind of dimensions which one never thought of. Earlier, it was land, sea, and air. Now it has started including your cyber, electromagnetic, and space. Soon you will start having something called as the weaponization of the neurosciences. That is, the decision-making, thinking process is going to be hacked. Now, NATO is already working on it. Many countries have an exclusive entity who are working on it. How do they impair the thinking process? They will incapacitate your brains, the neurons will be incapacitated and gradually destroyed. That is the kind of warfare one has to actually prepare for. And at the moment, what comes to my mind in case of Middle East is that World War, when you talk of, what it means is that more than one nation, or more than a collective participation of the countries warring against each other. They may have an ideology, may not have an ideology. Way back in World War One and World War Two, they did not have nuclear weapons. Now 9 countries have got nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapon is a weapon of deterrence. So with weapon of deterrence, I don't think that this will be that easy to go in. Iran may not have a declared weapon But people are suspecting that it has got a tactical nuclear bomb. It has got the capability to assemble in the shortest possible time and not flaunt it. They will be compelled to use it against the attacking forces. If this be true, then the dynamics of world war will totally change. People, Donald Trump will think 10 times, not 10 times, 1,000 times before he comes in with boots on ground. That's why they are announcing, we are waiting for you, please welcome into Iran. Iran has to be understood in totality with utmost comprehensiveness, which people have not actually factored in all this. It's not easy to change the regime. It is not to go with boots on ground where the army or the armed forces and the IRGC is with the government. It is not
Yes,
easy to
sir.
go in. The
So
Libyan model.
sorry. We have to move on. Please stay with us. We'll be right back with you. Israel says it did not target or hit a desalination plant in Iran, a military spokesperson confirmed. Meanwhile, Bahrain says Iranian drone attacks damaged one of its desalination plants and injured 3 people. The facility processes seawater to provide drinking water to residents, and sirens were sounded in Muharraq as debris from missiles caused damage to a nearby university building. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi condemned a U.S. strike on a freshwater desalination plant on Qeshm Island, calling it a blatant and desperate crime that disrupted water supply to 30 villages. He said the United States, not Iran, set the precedent for targeting civilian infrastructure. And now joining us is Dr. Satoru Nagao, a fellow from the Hudson Institute in Tokyo. Sir, if you were in this situation, how would you react? Where would you essentially go for water? I understand that you're not in this situation. You are joining us from Tokyo, but how exactly does this make you feel when you hear news like this? Please.
I think the US and Israel do not aiming to attack the infrastructure directly linked with the life of the civilian. Why I can say so? Because of the number of the dead of the civilian in this operation. Iran said nearly 1,300 civilians was dead by US and Israel. But this 1,300 is the view from this size of the big military bombing. Indeed, this is small. Because in case of the World War II, only in one night, the United States carpet bombing killed 100,000 people in Tokyo. Only in one night. So in case of the military operation the US, Israel did in Iran, this is 1 week, and the civilian death is the 1,300, very small. So that's why this is precision strike and not carpet bombing against civilian. View from this, if the US and Israel try to attack the water-related infrastructure, which is vital for the civilian life, this is, we cannot understand the purpose, simply said. So that's why this is fake news, I believe, or simply the US and Israel does not aiming to attack this, but unfortunately accident has happened. Something like that, I believe.
Yeah, even if it wasn't fake news per se, do you believe that, hypothetically speaking, if this really did happen, do you believe that this is part of the US's and Israel's plan to essentially wipe out the key elements of survival in Iran and in that region? What do you make of this?
The case by case basis, there are the detailed scenario of the attack, I think, because if the infrastructure directly linked with the life will be under danger, of course people will be evacuated, but evacuation itself is needed to attack more vital something in that place. Something such kind of situation, of course there is a possibility attacking this water-related infrastructure could happen. For example, the nuclear facility is there, but in front of this, there is a town and the people are there. In this case, before they attack this nuclear facility, they need to evacuate these people, but they need to force people to evacuate. In this case, destroying the infrastructure of their life could save the life of the people living in front of this plant. Such kind of things could happen, but I do not know such kind of the scenario in this case, so I don't know.
Sir, please stay with us. We'll be right back with you. According to reports, blasts were heard in the UAE capital, Abu Dhabi, as Iran's attacks across the Gulf continue to escalate. The city has faced regular strikes for over a week since Tehran launched its retaliatory campaign following U.S. and Israeli aerial operations against Iran. The UAE Defense Ministry says its air defenses successfully intercepted Iranian ballistic and cruise missiles along with drones. Officials have not provided exact numbers, but shared an infographic showing the total missiles and drones detected and neutralized during the ongoing attacks. No further details on casualties or damage have been released so far. And now joining us live again is retired Major General Sudhakarji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic expert joining us from Jaipur. Sir, in your opinion, or experience rather, do you believe that countries such as Abu Dhabi and Dubai, those affected in the UAE, will be able to bounce back from this? Do you believe real estate markets will continue to appreciate in the future, things like that? What are your thoughts, sir?
The economy is taking a downswing. It's taking a very hard beating, I would say, in any case, Roshan. It has to be understood. The tourist map is invariably, it's going to be decimated. You have the energy revenue, it is declining, and the complete Middle East, I would say, majorly across the Persian Gulf, looking from Iran side, the terrain has to be understood, and they are an export-oriented market. The whole economy and survival and growth and prosperity of all these countries is based on what they export. The export is taking a beating. If the vessels cannot go across Strait of Hormuz because the insurance is being not provided, insurance for the war zone risk is not being provided by, what do you call that, protection and indemnity club, which are based in London. Well then, how do these things go out? The oil rigs are being hit by mutual exchange of fire. And so therefore, all these things put together, if I may have to summarize, that economy is definitely going to take a very hard hit, and it is going to impact the livelihood of the people, and it is also going to have long-term, it will have short-term, medium-term and long-term implications going against the ultimate objective of some of the countries which have got 2030 mission, 2035 mission to diversify their economy. It is going to take a very hard hit, very difficult to recover and bounce back in times ahead.
Sir, please stay with us. Thank you so much. Next up, British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper said that the UK will not outsource its foreign policy, responding to criticism from US President Donald Trump over London's handling of the US-Iran conflict. In an interview, Cooper said that the UK must learn lessons from the Iraq War and act in line with national interests. Trump had criticized Prime Minister Keir Starmer, suggesting the UK helped ruin the historically close relationship by initially refusing US use of British bases for strikes on Iran. The UK later granted permission for defensive strikes on Iranian missile depots and launchers. On Truth Social, Trump said he will remember Britain's support during the conflict. Let's listen to what British Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper had to say.
I also think it is important to learn lessons from what went wrong in Iraq and to recognise whether that is about ensuring that the purpose for any action that the UK becomes a part of, and just recognising that all of our decisions need to be about what is right for British citizens and in the UK's national interest. No other country would say, look, we want to just outsource our foreign policy. Everyone would say that actually what you need to do is to take decisions ourselves.
And now joining us live is Dr. Satoru Nagao, fellow from the Hudson Institute. He's joining us live from Tokyo. Sir, do you believe that the UK and the US will be essentially be able to mend their relationship after this? I mean, what are your thoughts, sir? Please.
Indeed, this is a long-term problem because since President Trump sworn in, 1 month after he sworn in, he invited 4 leaders, but generally, President Trump, U.S. President invite the White House, the foreign leader. In this case, foreign leader is British is the first country every time. Every the U.S. president invites. Okay, since the President Trump sworn in, within 1 month he invited 4 leaders, which is Israel, Japan, Jordan, and India, but not United Kingdom. United Kingdom was the 5th one. And this is not common because generally the first one is the United Kingdom. So that's why that is the first time we can see the rift between US and the UK. And after that, we can see every military operation against Iran, the United States coordinate with Israel, but not United Kingdom. Last year, this year, we can see both times United Kingdom was not joining US military operation against Iran. So, view from this, even East United Kingdom is very closest ally of the United States, but President Trump or Trump administration does not think so. There is some reason the rift between two, because firstly, the United Kingdom is a left party, the President Trump believes, and view from the United Kingdom, President Trump is right-wing politician. So right versus left is exists between two.
Yes,
so
sir.
In this case,
so sorry, we do have to move on. We'll be right back with you. Please stay with us. Next up, Oslo police has said that an explosion at the U.S. Embassy in Norway overnight that caused no injuries and minor material damage may have been an act of terror, but stressed that they were also investigating other motives. The police have not provided details about what caused the blast, which occurred at the entrance to the embassy's consular section, and stated that only an explosive device had been used. The police has also said that they are still investigating and U.S. embassies are on high alert due to the U.S.-Iran war. Next up, Pope Leo has called for dialogue amid ongoing Middle East violence, expressing concern over the escalating conflict between the U.S. and Israel in Iran. Speaking at the Angelus prayer in St. Peter's Square, he warned that the violence was fueling fear and hatred and could spread further, affecting other countries in the region, including Lebanon. The Pope urged that the roar of bombs cease, weapons fall silent, and space be opened for dialogue in which the voices of peoples can be heard. The Vatican's top diplomat earlier criticized the U.S.-Israeli strikes, saying they undermined international law and that nations do not have the right to launch preventive wars. Let's listen to what the Pope had to say.
Da Iran e da tutto il Medio Oriente continuano a giungere notizie che destano profonda costernazione. Agli episodi di violenza e devastazione e al diffuso clima di odio e paura si aggiunge il timore che il conflitto si allarghi e altri paesi della regione, tra cui il caro Libano, possano sprofondare nuovamente nell'instabilità. Eleviamo la nostra umile preghiera al Signore perché cessi il fragore delle bombe, tacciano le armi e si apra uno spazio di dialogo nel quale si possa sentire la voce.
Next up, rapper turned politician Balendra Shah, also known as Balan, has won a decisive victory in Nepal's parliamentary elections, defeating former Prime Minister KP Ali by nearly 50,000 votes. Shah's Rashtriya Swatantra Party secured a majority in direct seats and leads in proportional representation, signaling the fall of Nepal's old political guard. The 35-year-old former Kathmandu mayor focused his campaign on health, education, and anti-corruption, appealing to the country's young population. The Nepali Congress and CPN-UML fared poorly, with party leaders defeated in key seats. Shah's rise reflects a generational shift, with voters rejecting leaders in their 70s. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Nepal on peaceful elections and pledged close cooperation with the new government. And now joining us live is retired Major General Sudhakarji, a senior geopolitical and strategic expert. He's joining us live from Jaipur. Sir, have you ever seen something like this in your lifetime, in your experience? Do you believe that this sets the new stage for new political leaders? He's essentially 35 years old. He did study engineering. I did some research on him, and then he became a rapper. Does this set the new stage for new political leaders in the 21st century? Please.
Excellent question, Roshan. First part of the question, I haven't seen anything like this taking place in my lifetime. This is a new era in the politics in the world. 35-year-old rapper, shooting into fame, and on principal paradigms. Look at the paradigms he has selected. Corruption. He's talking about anti-corruption, which is very close to the heart of the Nepalese. They're fed up. They're disgusted. So it is touching the raw nerve of every Nepali in multiple forms. Next, he's talking about education, health. These are the primary issues which actually is the need of the hour, and the way he has connected with the public mass or the public is phenomenal. 35-year-old rapper, and taking on the mantle of prime ministership of the people, for the people, by the people. I hope and pray he is able to discharge his mandate to meet the aspiration of the people, because it is our neighbor, and India would always look forward to have the best of relationship. We have always been looking at our neighbor as something, they call it as a neighbor which has got no barrier. There is no boundary to divide the two nations. There are the common religion, but he has got a lot to do with regard to foreign relations, the security of the subcontinent, not only Nepal, but subcontinent. But he would do well, again, to focus on the economy. Today, people are migrating, leaving Nepal and going abroad for employment. The economy in Nepal has to be given a due boost and revived. Only then they will attract people, and right policy, right direction, right orientation, and he must have some means and methods to carry out mid-course correction, take a feedback from the environment, has to remain open and connected with the people. That will take him forward as a prime minister who's as young as 35 in the subcontinent. I am not comparing with the other countries in the world, but in the South Asia, in the subcontinent, it is something new, very, very exemplary, transformative, and the Gen Z has come to stay, looks like. Roshan, in short, I would say, to respond to your question.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. We value your insights. Much appreciated. That's all we have time for. Keep watching NewsX World for more news updates from around the world.